Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again it is Sunday, and that means it's time for the Texas Gun Vault Poll Question of the Week, a weekly vlog that I put out where I ask you as my viewers and subscribers about something that deals with guns, gun culture, politics, current events, or the news, or maybe something fun like EDC that I want to get your thoughts and opinions on. And this week's question was kind of sobering to me. I actually thought this one was going to be a smashing success, meaning tons of people were going to vote on it, and it was going to encourage me about the future of the Second Amendment. However, I actually come away from this pretty darn disappointed. Because right now, I don't know about you, but I sure feel like our Second Amendment rights are under constant attack. Not just from the unelected officials and bureaucracies like the ATF, but also our elected officials. Even the ones that are supposed to be on our side really aren't doing much to help us. And so what do we have to do as the people? Well, we have to band together and we have to try to change the culture. We have to donate to organizations that are fighting to overturn these laws. We have to vote to elect pro-Second Amendment politicians. We have to write our officials. We have to peacefully assemble. And I really thought we were all in this together, because right now the biggest firearms channels on YouTube, or the ones that seem to be growing the quickest, are the ones that are dealing with content like this: politics, current events, and the news. So I thought this question was going to be a no-brainer, but I was really surprised. So before I give you guys my personal thoughts and opinions on this, let's go into this week's question and your results. In the past few weeks, we have seen the ATF make some news with everything from showing up to people's homes without warrants, asking to inspect guns, to charging people in possession of FRT triggers with owning machine guns, even though they were sold legally and the ATF never released an opinion on them, to changing rules and definitions on frames and receivers and the legality of pistol braces. It seems like our Second Amendment rights are under constant attack by unelected bureaucrats. With all this going on, what are you doing to fight this? Are you contacting your representatives, senators, governors, and the president? Are you donating to gun rights organizations who are lobbying and fighting these laws and regulations in court? Are you voting pro-2A, attending rallies, or are you just an online keyboard warrior? In order to win this battle, we all need to be in this game together and petitioning our government officials, voting, and donating to win the legal battles. How are you helping our cause? And as I mentioned, I thought this was going to be a no-brainer. I thought this poll might get the most votes of all time. After all, there is a saying, and I believe it is falsely attributed to Edmund Burke, but it goes, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." And I find that statement to be very true when it comes to the Second Amendment. After all, when I look at all the responses people get in the news, on YouTube channels, when it comes to fighting Second Amendment infringements, I feel emboldened. I'm like, we are in this together. We're winning this culture war. I know there's got to be other people out there doing their small part to help advance the Second Amendment. Maybe they're taking a friend to the range who might be on the border between promoting the Second Amendment or disliking the Second Amendment, and you can turn them into a Second Amendment convert. Maybe you're writing your congressman. Maybe you're donating $1, $2, $3, or $5 to your favorite pro-gun rights organization. Maybe you go to the rallies. Hopefully, you're getting out to the polls and voting pro-2A. I was like, we're winning this battle. But I only got 585 votes this week. And the results of the poll this week really made me sad. So let's dive into what you guys said and let's talk about it. As I mentioned, with only 585 votes as of me filming this video, I am writing and calling my elected representatives, 19%. I am donating to pro-2A organizations to fight the legal battles, 16%. I am going to pro-2A rallies and peacefully protesting, 1%. I'm doing all or some of the above, 26%. And then I am doing none of the above, 37%. And while I know the first 4 options in this poll combined would be the majority, meaning most people are doing something, I am very dismayed that 37% of people said they're doing nothing. You know, as that quote said, all that takes for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. And doing nothing isn't going to help us. Now, I'm not here necessarily to give you guys some type of pep talk. I'm not here to tell you where to spend your money or what to do. But all I can tell you is that we are just one election away from losing all of our rights. We can't just sit back and hope the courts are going to do the right thing. And yes, we recently had a huge victory in the courts, and that is fantastic. We also can't hope that the pro-Second Amendment legislators that we elect are going to do something, because right now they're not the majority. They can't stop these anti-gun bills from passing. We also just can't sit back and hope that the lawyers that are working for pro-gun organizations are going to get the job done. I can tell you, lawyers are very expensive, but they're completely worth it. And the anti-gun organizations are held up and propped up by 1 or 2 or 3 millionaires and billionaires. They don't need the legions of supporters like the pro-gun organizations do. If all of us donated $5 or $10 to these organizations, they would be well funded to fight these egregious anti-gun laws, and we would be winning. But what do most people do? They sit back and they do nothing. They wait for other people to carry the water for them. And then, when these anti-gun bills get passed, like H.R. 1808 recently did in the House of Representatives, everybody is up in arms. We have to do something. Well, that decision should have been made a long time ago. What are you doing to promote the Second Amendment? You don't have to do anything big or great. You can donate $1 or $2 to a pro-gun organization. You can take somebody shooting who might be unfamiliar with firearms and educate them and show them the joys of the shooting hobby and how important the Second Amendment is. And maybe that's going to change their vote down the road. Me, myself, I like to promote Second Amendment content here on YouTube. I hope to reach out to those fence sitters. I try to create firearms videos and show handling of firearms in a safe and responsible way. So hopefully people that might be attracted to that content are going to go, I like the Second Amendment. I like how this guy does it. He makes some good points, and I open their ears and I plant that seed of the Second Amendment. I also donate to pro-gun organizations. I try to do my part, and I thought I was part of this grand army of the Second Amendment. But it appears that I'm not. And I don't really know how to feel right now. But let's go through each one of these options, and I'll tell you guys my personal opinions. I'm writing and calling my elected representatives. Now, I feel like for most people, this is the easiest thing to do. After all, it is free, and your representatives have to listen to you. They don't have to vote the way that you want them to, but they have to listen. Now, I do recommend that if you are going to contact any elected representative, don't go to one of those sites where you can autofill in your name and address, and it creates one of those form letters. You need to write the letter personally. You need to call their office, and that's what's important, because if you're not doing it off of a form letter, which they can easily just delete and go, okay, we got 1,000 of these, they don't know if they're real or not. But if you take the time to write a personalized message, that means a lot more and has a bigger impact. I think it is really important too, even if your elected representatives are very anti-Second Amendment, to still contact them in a respectful way. You do need to be emailing the president. There is an email address at the White House for the president. You can respectfully disagree. And we hope, and after all, hope is a very powerful thing, that if enough people contact these anti-gun politicians, it might make them rethink their stance. And I know a lot of you guys say that's wishful thinking. It will never happen. And maybe it won't, but you're doing something. You're helping the cause, and you're making your stance known. Because if you are quiet, they assume that you agree with them. Then we have, I am donating to Pro-2A organizations to fight the legal battles. Now, I personally think that this is the best way and most effective way to go. As I said, lawyers are very, very expensive, but they are worth every penny. Trust me. And where we win these battles if we can't convince the elected officials to vote our way is in the courts. Courts to sit back and go, no, this is an unconstitutional law. Look at this rational argument brought up by this pro-gun organization. Well, we're going to find that this law that they're fighting against is unconstitutional because they make such good arguments. But those arguments can't be brought before the court if they don't have funding. Now, many times the lawyers that work for these organizations are working pro bono or charge a lesser fee because they believe in the fight too. But they have to take time away from their normal practices to do this, and they need funding. They need money for the discovery. They need money to create these lawsuits to fight these laws. And $5 or $10 to the right organization can go a long way. I personally like to donate to organizations that are the ones that are filing the lawsuits at the district and the appellate level. I'm not a big fan of organizations like the NRA. You guys know I think that they're a corrupt organization. And if you donate $10 or $15 to them, well, most of that's probably going to be going to paying off their debts and lavish trips and parties for the people at the top of that organization. However, there are other organizations, and you guys know who I'm talking about, that pretty much all of that money goes right back into fighting the legal battles. You could even go over to their websites and just buy merch, buy a hat, buy a t-shirt. You don't have to donate money, but the proceeds of that go to them fighting those legal battles. I feel like this is the best way for you to be engaged in the fight for your Second Amendment rights. And if we all did this and we made these organizations powerful, well, they would be the most powerful lobbying organizations in the country, and we could actually get pro-gun legislation passed. Then we have, I'm going to pro-2A rallies and peacefully protesting. Now, I think this is a great picture opportunity. However, I find that these rallies sometimes are used against us because the people that go to these rallies, and I'm not saying you're one of those people, but it's easy for the media to paint and portray the people out there with the Gadsden flags and stuff. And by the way, I like the Gadsden flag, and I am a libertarian, and I believe in freedom. But sometimes the people that go out there and represent our community might not always be the best. But it also gives the anti-gun organizations a way to infiltrate and to have people that look like they're on our side, but really on their side, making us look bad. But I definitely think, depending on the right circumstance and who organizes it, a pro-Second Amendment rally done in the right way could be very effective. But it's not as effective as writing your representatives or donating to those pro-2A organizations. Then we have, I am doing all or some of the above, and luckily that was 26%. I think I definitely fall into that category. As I said, I donate to pro-gun organizations, and I create content on YouTube that promotes the Second Amendment. That's my personal outreach. I'm trying to convince others to adhere to the Second Amendment and go, I want that right preserved for me and my children and my grandchildren. So that's my outreach, but I'm only one guy. I'm just an average gun guy sitting here in his garage, but I do all that I can. I don't think I'm some type of hero. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm just trying to do my part. And as I said, the results of this poll kind of saddened me because I thought that I was a foot soldier in this war to promote the Second Amendment, and we were all here together. And then when the call comes to charge, I'm going out into that field and I realize nobody's following me, and I turn around and a lot of people have left. So I really don't know how to feel about this, but I hope that I can encourage you, or somebody else can encourage you, just to do something small. $1 here, $2 here can go a long way with the right pro-Second Amendment organization. And then finally, I am doing none of the above, and that was 37%, a big majority. It got the most votes, and as I said, that scares me. You can't wait for other people to carry your water or to fight those battles for you. All that it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And those 37% of people that voted in this poll, I'm sorry to say, I'm ashamed at you. You can do something small. As I said, just take somebody to the range. Write your elected representatives. That costs absolutely nothing. Do your part. If you don't really want the Second Amendment when it's gone, and you're not willing to fight for it, don't be upset when it's taken away like that at the stroke of a pen. And then you're going to go, what happened? I can't believe this. And you're going to get on the websites and the YouTube channels and comment all you can frantically. Somebody has to do something about it. Well, that somebody that had to do something about it was you. Don't let us down. We're all in this fight together. So that's my thoughts on this, but let's see what you guys had to say with this week's top-rated comments. And with our top-rated comment of the week, we have OG Tank, who says, you can't rationalize someone out of a position they did not get to rationally. And he quotes Eric July. Now, I don't know who Eric July is, and I understand this sentiment. It's easy to have this philosophy or this theory and then just give up on people. And I understand that. There are people that I do not want to debate because I know that right now in the position that they're in and the position that I'm in, there is no common ground. We are not going to agree, but it doesn't mean that I don't give up hope. I did a Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week asking you, how do you guys debate with anti-gunners? And we had a wide variety of responses, and I said in that video, I think my final thought was, well, I think we have to use all of these different tactics depending on the situation and depending on the person, but never, ever, ever give up hope. Once you give up hope and give up, the other side has already won. Then we have Keith Tate. I'm calling and writing to my representatives as well as sharing information with friends and others. I wish I could do more, but as a disabled American, I do what I can. And Keith, you are doing exactly what you should be doing. That is being the foot soldier in this battle. You are making other people aware and you're contacting your elected representatives. And that's all that we can ask for. If every American that is pro-Second Amendment did the exact same thing that you're doing, we would win. You're doing your part. So thank you so much. Then we have Wild Bill 94 who says, if you're going to take someone's gun on the suspicion that they're going to use it to hurt themselves or someone else, you should probably at least have a warrant first. Well, absolutely. And I agree. And that's what we're trying to fight here. Those things like red flag laws. But how do we beat that? We have to have legal teams in place to fight this, to show the courts the unconstitutionality of these laws. We have to be trying to elect representatives that will either repeal these laws or not vote on them at all. We all have to do our part. Then we have my good friend Brian Edgett, who says, I can't wait to see how the courts rule on some of the charges. Seeing there is no law being broken, make as much or more noise as the other side. Then we can get some of our rights back. And he makes a great point. We shouldn't just be fighting to stop what's going on. We should be fighting to repeal it. I always feel like on the pro-Second Amendment side of things, we're always playing defense. Every compromise is us giving up some ground and the other side gaining some ground, just not as much as they want. It's time for us to fight back. It's time for us to vote in people that are going to create pro-gun laws that are going to expand the Second Amendment instead of waiting for the courts or for something else to happen and then we just simply stop it. We have to go on the offense and not be on the defense when it comes to this lawfare, I believe they call it. Essentially going after and saying we're not just going to repeal these laws, we are going to pass pro-gun laws as well. But how do we do that? We have to be in the fight together. We all have to do something so our elected representatives know that we support them and they feel confident in doing what they're trying to do. And then finally we have Dark Allegiance Goon 999 who says, having to pay and beg for a right is stupid and pathetic. It makes me very angry just thinking about them getting away with it. No consequences like treason, making people weak and defenseless. And I agree with that sentiment, and that's why we all need to be banding together. Now, while I appreciate people's honesty saying they're not doing anything, I'm having a call to arms now, not physical arms, but get out, vote, contact your representatives, take your money, $1 or $2, to your favorite pro-gun rights organization. I promise it will go a long way. I'm not telling you where to spend that money or what organizations to donate to. Go out and do your own research and fund the organizations that you feel are doing the best with that dollar. But do something. Talk to your friends and families. Take them to the shooting range. Show people that gun owners are not what the mainstream media and the anti-gun leftists say we are. That we are just average Americans. That's what we are. We are peaceful. We love our country. We love our fellow man. And we support civil rights like the Second Amendment and your right to defend yourself. That is so important. If you can't defend your life, well, you have no other rights. And it's important that we're all in this fight together. So, if you were one of the 37% that said you don't do anything, I'm asking you and begging you, do something, even if it's very small. And in the end, we can win this battle. So that's the Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week. I'm a little sad at the number of people that voted because obviously not enough people cared. And of those people that did vote, so many people said they did absolutely nothing. Come on, guys, we can win this battle. Things are changing. The tides are turning. And the more of us out there supporting the Second Amendment, the sooner we can have the great victories. So, let me know what you think in the comment section below. What can we do to encourage other people to get on board? And as always, thanks for watching the Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week. If you want to participate in next week's poll, please go to the community tab of my YouTube channel. I will post a link in the description. Go over there, see what the poll's about, vote and like other people's comments, and comment yourself so we can get the top-rated comments of the week. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. Are we going to win this? Can we come together? I know that we can, because I have hope. So, as always, thanks for watching.